Hello, my friends that are in the silent majority. Welcome back to the Normal Procedure Podcast. Remember, if you enjoy this content, do what everyone else is telling you to do. I'm not going to repeat it. You already know all the buttons and all of these and all of those, and you know what to do if you enjoy what you hear. Here. There's this, and I really do mean that this podcast is for the silent majority. I mean that because we don't have a voice. And a lot of the things I talk about may be controversial, but controversial to the uninitiated. And people that don't have the time to think about these things deeply. So I give them voice and I give them reason, and of course with a comedic touch. So today I'm going to be talking about this quote. And all of the JRE fans and just philosophical thinkers will already know this quote once I say it. It is, most men live lives of silent desperation. Have you heard this before? Most men live lives of silent desperation. And I'm not even going to make it exclusively towards men. I'm going to say women too. Most women and men live lives of silent desperation. Especially men, and other ways that I'll get to later. Now, that ties into, firstly, this person that I talked about on a previous, well, not a real person, a fictional person that I talked about on a previous podcast, Al Bundy. But it also leads into this person that I just discovered. And I'm so mad. I did not know them when they were alive. Rest in peace. He's a symbol of masculinity, especially black masculinity. And he was considered controversial because of some of the truths and some of the logic, and especially the way that he communicated with people. I'm going to get to him later. But first, let's talk about Al Bundy. Bundy said in one of the episodes, I believe, someone called him a loser. Now, average people, we are the silent majority. We are normal people. We are average people. By standards held up high, you know, the 1% or the vocal wokesters, they would consider a lot of us to be losers. They would consider someone that's, you know, 34, 35, 36 years old that's still working in retail and living in an apartment and driving a Hyundai, you're a loser. Or a woman that's, you know, working medical coding and billing and, you know, got a kid and she's unmarried, you know, they would consider her a loser. Well, not so much on a woman's side, because if you have a vagina, you have access to options, and maybe you could fucking nail one down. You get one. Get yourself one, as long as you got that hole. You got that hole in your body, you got a chance. Just get you an old one. You go to the gym, shed a few pounds. I know I'm kind of heavy myself. Shout out Johnny Cash. You might be stretched out in this shirt right now. If you're watching the video experience, you know exactly what I'm saying. But they would consider, you know, average, the higher ups, the upper echelon people, they would consider most of us to be losers because we haven't reached that level of success where the average life is just shit on, you know. So Al Bundy said that I'm not a loser. I'm not a loser at all. I worked this fucking shit job for 20 years, 8 hours a day, and I haven't gone crazy. I go home to a wife that doesn't appreciate me and she nags at me. I go to kids that don't appreciate me and they think I'm, you know, a fucking shell of a human being. This isn't what he said verbatim, by the way, but it was the essence of it. And he's like, no, I put up with all this shit and I'm a middle-aged man and I'm still making it. I'm getting by. How does that make me a loser? No. I am a winner. And that's how we have to start viewing our lives. We really do. We have to start viewing our lives not by shallow comparisons of what other people may have. What we have to do is just put ourselves into the context of where we came from, where we are, and if we're, above the threshold of surviving. Like there's this threshold here, and everyone that's still struggling is under there. And everyone that is living the average life that we're above the threshold. Some of us might be a couple of inches above it. Some of us might be way above it. Some of us might be in the fucking stratosphere. And those are the people that look down on us and say our average lifestyle is shit and we're losers, right? But if you're above that threshold, if you're above it in any capacity, you're not a loser. You're doing what 90% of people across the country do. You're living a sustainable life. You're able to keep your lights on. You're able to pay your bills. You're able to go to work. You're able to, put gas in your car, even though gas is fucking ridiculously overpriced right now. And dealing with the inflation, and you're still able to provide for yourself. Everyone that lives a life to where you could just be in your space, and you have worry. Everyone has worry, but it's not to the point where you think, damn, I'm going to wake up outside tomorrow. We're not losers. So don't let anyone ever call you a fucking loser just because you're not living a glamorous lifestyle. I think the media has a lot to do with that too, because if you pay attention to that shit, it can hypnotize you. You will be hypnotized by the glorious and the glamorous and the over-the-top lifestyles that people live. And you will think that, oh, that's what I should be trying to obtain. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to obtain that sort of lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And we all should be. Quite honestly, we should all be trying to be in a better spot than we are right now. But we have to start appreciating the right now. And the media isn't doing us any favors. So I always try to tell people, although I not work, but I guess this is work. I work in an area in which you need to promote yourself. Therefore, you need social media. You need to get follows. You need to get shares. You need to get likes and comments. But if you live your life in that social media bubble and you're seeing these same things being elevated to the top of your fucking thread and timelines, and you're doing a life comparison to your own detriment. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should be glamorizing the average, glamorizing the normal. And I know that sounds fucking ridiculous, but you have to glamorize the normal so that you have to be like, oh, that's me too. We have to start building those communities to where we're like, that's me too. I do that too. I live that life too. Instead of looking at all these celebrities and actors and musicians and athletes and fucking making them deities, just glorifying them. Like, oh, I could never, oh, it's so great. Like, fuck that. And that is highly common in the black community, especially. Now, in the black community, speaking of, the person that I didn't even know he existed. I had no idea this person was a thing. And all this time, I'm not going to say all this time, but from the moment he was doing his content, he's my spirit animal, this guy. He even quoted numerous times an early episode. Well, not of mine. Of course, he wasn't listening to my content, but he covered a topic that I covered. He briefly said that dating is dumb. And I have an episode. If you don't know, this podcast was once called The Average Guy's Guide to Life. That was too long. And there were too many things that were called the average blank or average this or average that. So I changed it to the normal procedure. And he spoke about a topic that I covered in the early days of The Average Guy's Guide to Life. Dating is done. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know I was parroting this man. Or maybe started his content a little later, but I have no idea. But Kevin Samuels is my spirit animal. I wouldn't have known he existed if it wasn't for an Instagram story that I came across. People may think that he's controversial because of the things that he said and the way that he communicated with people. I don't agree with a lot of the things that he said. I don't agree with a lot of the ways that he communicated with people. But that's subjective. That's his way of going about his branding. But the message, I 1,000,000% agree with. Because if you take away all of the quote unquote controversy of his content, the message is accountability. The message is realistic standards. The message is know your actual worth. It was geared towards, I guess you would say, judging women. I wouldn't say judging. I would say realistically assessing women and how they view, specifically black women, and how they view black man and black men and what they think they deserve. I think that's what he did. The way he communicated might have offended some people, but he did in my mind, this man did the Lord's work, because I hate to cut it to you, most black men think like that. If they haven't been brainwashed by feminism or wokeness, if they haven't been, I guess, pussy whipped, and if they not one of the people that, patrol the streets, gangsters, because gangsters really don't give a fuck about nothing, but normal black men. He was our voice. I had no idea. I didn't know. And since then, I've just been binging his content. Like I said, not all of it I agree with. Some of the ways that he communicate with him, I think he can be a little bit more lenient. He cuts people off a lot, but then don't let them cut him off. That's a communication issue. I understand it's your show, but you can at least listen to them spew whatever fucking nonsense that they're going to spew. Let them get it all out of their system. And then hit them with the daggers. You don't have to fucking cut them off. And, it just more substantiates that you know what you're talking about and they don't. But I love the fact that a brother like that existed, and I had no fucking idea. So I'm going to take it upon myself to pick up the torch, to continue to push the message that he was trying to push. Excuse me, my fucking mouth is dry as fuck. I have a sugar-free Monaco, or is it a Monaco? I don't know, but it's sugar-free. I only have a swallow of this fucking thing left. People don't like these. I have to get these things on demand because they're not at my local place. People like the sugary shit. I try to stay away from as much sugar as possible. I burned that bridge a long time ago. My dinner used to be honey buns. But let me take a swig of this. People don't like it. They think it's bitter. It doesn't have any sugar at it, but it's just perfect for me. I like Kits. The cereal, K-I-X. I like Kits. That puts me where I am. So yes, I'm going to try and pick up the torch to where he left off, because I think this is a message that not only black women but all women need to hear. They need to know that, first of all, they need to realize that there's two sides to every coin, and black women especially, I guess all women. Okay, black women. because I can't speak about the other races because they're not my women. And he would talk about that a lot too. They're not my women, so I can't speak for them. But black women, they have this independent streak, this I'm a queen streak, this I don't need a man streak, this living my best life streak, this hot girl summer streak, this, you know, I'm thotting and I'm ratchet with all my thought ratchet friends streak. Like everything that's opposed to a man. So I think it's necessary for a normal man like myself to speak on how this is just one-sided behavior, and it's out in the public already. We have all of the black woman's opinions. We have all women's opinions, and we have all black women's opinions. We have all of the opinions. They have all of the airway. They have all of the media. They have it. That's theirs. They have it on lock. Who's speaking for the black man? Who's doing it? Kevin Samuels was doing it. No, he's dead. And I didn't even know him when he was alive. I would have loved to speak to this brother. So wise. So very wise. And controversial. But we need to hold both sides accountable. And there's a side to where, okay, we're getting one opinion, and we're being beat to death with this one opinion, which is the black woman's opinion. And they expect a certain thing because they talk to each other, and they're cycling the same opinions around with each other without actually talking to a normal black man and trying to see if that's how we feel, if that's how we think when it comes to relationships and how we view the black women or how they view us. And I'm not talking about going to talk to fucking Lil Ray down the street or talking to Juicy Juan or whatever the fuck these dudes call themselves nowadays. You know what I'm talking about, the wop wops and boo boos and all these motherfuckers that's out here selling drugs and shit. We're not talking about them. They're not going to give you, first of all, they're not going to give you intellectual feedback. They're not going to give you honest feedback. They're going to give you hood boy feedback. They're going to give you fuckboy feedback. I'm talking about a normal black dude like me, like the dude that's working in a construction job, like the fucking dude that's working, you know, in retail. Like, talk to us. And so there can be a healthy dialogue between both parties, and we can know what the expectations are, what the perceptions are. But that's not happening. He was doing that, and he made it so glaring just how uninformed the black woman was about the black man. He just made it so glaring. It was, I couldn't ignore it. I think that's why I binged it so long. I couldn't look away. I'm like, do these motherfuckers really think like that? Like, even the nails. He talked about the nails. I didn't think anybody cared about the nails but me. I thought that was just my own thing. I thought I'm the only weirdo that gives a fuck about these long, dumbass nails. And then stop pretending like it's an inconvenience. Stop pretending like it's not an inconvenience because it's an inconvenience for me to look at. Like, that's a clip from an older podcast that I said. But apparently it's not just me. It like, I might be, I don't know. It's not an echo chamber thing, I don't think. I think it's like I said, silent majority. I think it's a silent majority thing where the majority of black men feel a certain way and they're perceived a certain way. And women have these, you know, unchecked, unrealistic standards and expectations. And they're too independent and they're too yas queened up to give a fuck. Then where are we left off? Where's our community? Where's all these strong black women that care about strong black men? Where's the dynamic? You know? So that's going to be a big part of my content going forward. And if you do not like that, I understand. I'm going to be a lot more understanding. I'm going to be a lot more, I'm not going to say soft, but I will be more, I will give more opportunities for communication. I won't be as harsh with my critique. I won't be as harsh with, the things that I say about these topics and about black women, because, I believe in a more back and forth sort of, conversation. And I'm not saying I'm going to have someone on with me. I'm just saying that the dialogue in which I'm going to put out there is not going to be as, blunt and unforgiving as his was, but it's going to have the same message. And controversial or not, it's the fucking truth. You can't argue with the truth. And I'm gonna do rankings too, possibly, but I don't think I'm going to mirror his content though. I'm just going to talk about the just the absurdity of some, like, for example, women that are overweight. Women that are overweight think that they have the same sexual marketplace value as a woman who is fit. It's delusional. It's fucking delusional that you would think you at 5'4", 230 pounds have the same marketplace value, sexual marketplace value, as someone who is your same height but 100 pounds lighter. Like, what the fuck? But that's where the media comes in. That's what I was talking about earlier. They will put these images out there. They will display these images to women especially, so that you think that this is acceptable. Not acceptable, but you think this is attractive. You think this is, desirable. Like these plus size models and like these fucking shows on TLC where we're glorifying fat women. Like, Jesus Christ, like, you're dying. This ain't sexy. I mean, it's a fetish, but it's not sexy. And to see these people say that they could still have higher options, it's ridiculous. Like, you think you're going to get like a fucking 6-figure engineer? But your weight is 6 figures. What are you talking about? It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm so sad that I didn't get to fucking see him when he was alive. My gosh. I'm legitimately sad about that. We think a lot alike. I had no idea my elder spirit animal was out there talking about a lot of the things that I believe, but I usually don't talk about on my content because my content is a lot more varied. He seems to stick to that one thing. He is on a mission. He had a mission. He really did. You don't commit to something like that. I don't care about the views. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the status. You don't commit to something like that and have the passion that he did in the conversations that he had without being on a mission. He really wanted people to do better in the black community. He wanted black women to understand black men. He really wanted that. Can't nobody tell me otherwise, whether you think he was controversial or not. You cannot tell me that Kevin Samuels really didn't care about the growth, progression, and healing of our community when it comes to black women being with black men. He cared about it. He cared a lot. So I'm going to try and do that myself. That's going to be a lot of mine. Like I said, we're normal people. A lot of us are fucking normal people. A lot of us are normal. How would you feel as a normal woman, right? Let's just say you're a normal woman You're working a normal job, whatever it is. You have normal looks, above average, and you're not overweight, but you're average shape, and you're being overlooked by a fucking 400-pound dude, sloppy, super sloppy, who's on your level. Like, you guys work at the same fucking place, and you just pull him aside and ask him, what do you think of me? How do I look? He's like, I wouldn't really date you. Yeah, you're just too average looking. You don't make enough money. I kind of want to date Amber Heard. I don't really care about her toxicity. She got money. She got Johnny Depp money. Bitch is crazy. But I'll fuck the crazy out of her with my 300, 400-pound belly. That's what I want. Then you'd be baffled as fuck. You'd be confused. Like, dude, have you seen yourself? Dude, you literally one strip of bacon away from cardiac arrest. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's how dudes think. Not to that extreme, of course, but that's how dudes feel. We feel the same way. It's the same shit. It's like you're shooting from half court. You're shooting from half court, hoping that you bank one in. Matter of fact, fuck half court, because some of y'all can actually make half court shots. You're shooting from fucking full court. You're shooting from full court with one shot. You're shooting from full court with one shot, hoping that you hit it all net, when it's just not meant to be. We have to start appreciating each other for being the silent majority, the normal majority. We have to start appreciating each other for that. Because if, fucking Jasmine over here, who's living a normal, average life, actually appreciates Deshaun over here, who's living an average, normal life, and don't want him to be, fucking musician, NBA player, or whatever the fuck. Just appreciate him for what he is and where he's going and what he can bring to her and what they can bring to each other within a relationship. Just fucking gold. And here's another thing I think that Kevin didn't talk about enough. Men need to fucking do it too. I talk about men a lot on my program, on my podcast. Men need to fucking clean their rooms too, because a lot of men are shooting too fucking high. You think too highly of yourself. You think way too highly of yourself. Whether you think you got enough money and where you could buy anything. You could buy yourself some pussy. You could buy yourself a 10. You could buy yourself a fucking roster of women. Or you're an attractive dude. You have a nice jawline, nice hairline. You got fucking drippy dreads or fucking, wet waves, whatever the fuck. And you value yourself on that, and you think you could pull any bitch. Like, you need to fucking figure that out too, because even if you are like a desirable man, desire doesn't lead to positive outcomes, because a lot of men are breaking families too. They're breaking families too. I don't agree with Kevin in the way that he says that men are just allowed to go express their options. I don't believe in that. Options are for those who agree to the terms of an open relationship. Now, if you agree to the terms of an open relationship, then you can exercise options. Other than that, then you're just secretly cheating. You have to go and tell the person that this is my lifestyle, and if they agree to that because you're a quote unquote high value man in that way, then by all means, that's what you got. But most of the time, men don't do that. Even normal guys like us, they will fuck around. Dudes that ain't even employed, that live in their grandmother's basements, will fuck around. Dudes that's fucking 300 pounds, average looking dudes, unemployed, sit around, play fucking Fortnite all day. If somebody throwing pussy at him, he gonna go get it. Even if he in a relationship, somebody throwing pussy at him, he gonna go get it. How is that right too? And how is that right too? That's not right. You know, so those standards have to be equal on some level. But the major point is that black women need to understand black men, because y'all shooting for the stars. God bless you. But most of us is right down here. We're right here. And we're waiting for you to come down. And by the time you come down, it's too late. It's like you shot for the stars and gravity finally comes bring you back down to earth. Now you're back down here with us. And you're 45. You're 40, 45 years old. You know, you got a few kids. And it's like, fuck, you finally came back down from up there, huh? Didn't find anything up there, did you? Ah, that's fucked up. Well, I've moved on. I've married this Mexican lady. You know, I've married this fucking Haitian. I went to Japan or China and brought somebody back home. You know, or I married this uncomplicated Christian black woman. You know. How was it up there, though? Get a few dicks? Get a few dicks while you're up there shooting for the stars? You get a few stars to fuck you? You out there fucking stars. Out of space. Congratulations. But it's over now. It's over. Bye-bye. See ya. Bye. You wasted your time instead of trying to understand where we were, where we are. We're here. We're still here. We still love you. We still want you. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where did she go? We're still right here. For the love of fuck. Anyway, remember to do the things. Do the likes and the shares and the comments and all that stuff. And yeah, a lot of my content, I want to say 50% of it, it's going to be that. So if you don't, the brother died. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. He died. His job wasn't done. I might not be able to reach the level that he did. Likely I won't. But I still feel like he left a lineage to where his work needs to be picked up. It needs to be picked up by me. It needs to be picked up by other black men who's preaching the same thing. And I'm not talking about, you know, dismissive incel black men. Talking about black men that actually have options and living a decent life. And, you know, normal black men. We need to pick up this message and carry it for him, because we can't let it fade. We cannot let it die on the cross. We cannot let the fires burn out. We have to do it. It was momentum being gained. And we're not starting off at the status that he is. You know, we're not starting off as a professional image consultant with already a solidified reputation. But we can do it. We can do it. We just have to commit and be honest. Commit, be honest, and not just chasing pussy. Because if you're not, if you want to say you're committed and you're honest, but you still out here trying to chase pussy, we all know what that means. That means that you're gonna lie sometimes to get in the pants. You're gonna go along to get along just so you can get some pussy. So we don't need y'all on our team. Like, you know, that's a conflict of interest. We need to be honest, transparent, and not desperate for vagina. So we continue this man's message and continue to try and bring us together. Do the things. Do the things. Do the things. All right. Bye.